G'day, it's Rusty from Rusty's Outback Adventures, and in today's video we're going to stick this in here, but it don't fit. So I've been reliably informed by the guys at Outback 4x4 in Erskine, where I had this Ironman Bullbar fitted, that in order to put the winch in, the bullbar's got to come off. So yeah, they did say to me it's fairly heavy, so I hope you got a lifting, some sort of lifting crane. Well, I do. I've got a portable overhead gantry crane that's on wheels, so I guess that's a mobile one, makes it portable on wheels. So I'm going to have to bring that in here as well. First of all, we'll take all these under tray panels off, disconnect the spotties, take the antenna off the bull bar. Yeah, I guess we're just going to have to lie on the ground and see what bolt's got to come out, and when we get it loose we'll get the crane on and we'll support the weight of it, and the idea being we'll slide it forward, set it on some sort of blocks or frame, and then we'll work out how to fit it in. I can actually see there's a tray inside there, so I can sort of see this mounting tray. I just hope this is going to fit in it, because from what I've been told, these bull bars are pretty universal in terms of winch mountings. So yeah, let's get into it. But before we can install the winch in the bull bar, we best get it out of the packet first. So let's unbox this thing. Now this is the Kings Domin8rX 12,000 pound winch, and I'm sure there's a whole range of winches on the market that are available. I went with this one, looking for value for money, and never had a winch before, and they seem to be a popular winch. Okay, we've got a warranty and an instruction manual. I guess at some stage we'll have to read that. Right, we've got, I believe that's the remote unit, the wired one. Alright, we've got, okay, I've heard about these. This is the control box and the cables. Right, we've got a hook. Alrighty. We have some mounting bolts. I hope they're high tensile. I'm sure they are. Right, a piece of cardboard. There's another cable. I guess that's an earth cable, being black. Alright, now to get this bad boy out of the box. I can tip it sideways and not hurt myself. Alright, we're nearly there. Nearly got it apart. Alright, this is the winch. Now, one thing I have noticed is I've just had a quick look in the instruction manual, which you always do at the last minute. It talks about, it says the fair lead is to be mounted so as to guide the rope onto the drum evenly. Now, I haven't got a fair lead in this kit, so I'm going to need to check to find out whether the fair lead is actually meant to be part of this kit or not. But yeah, I'm a bit disappointed. I thought it would have come with one, so I'll have to chase that up. Hit our first little snag, and if you see down here, this is the tray. I don't know if you can see that. This is the tray where the winch sits. Let me get underneath and show you. This is the tray where the winch sits up here. Now the gap between here and this underside of the body here is 130 mil, but the winch is 170. So I got a feeling, because we can't move this is bolted in, this whole assembly is bolted in through here. So I got a feeling we're going to have to modify this underside of the bodywork here to get this winch in, because there's no other way it's going to fit. I'm not sure what we're going to do here yet, but we're going to have to pull these bolts out here and see if I can get this lower part of the sort of bumper out, and yeah, go from there. So as I mentioned earlier, the distance between this mounting face where the winch sits and this underside of the body is only 130 mil. I need 170. So this body section, or this, whatever you call it, the bumper below the grille, has to be relieved, and there's a metal plate here. This bracket here that bolts onto these body panels supports it here, and on the other side, well, it should fit between that edge of the bracket and this other side, so I'm going to have to cut this whole piece out, and I don't like my chances of doing it with the Bullbar in. So I think I'm pretty resigned to the fact now the Bullbar's got to come off. Didn't want to, but hey, that's what I was told to do. So yeah, and then we'll have a better idea of being able to cut this. So alright, next step is we'll disconnect the indicator lights, bring the crane over, loosen the bolts, and we'll lift the Bullbar off. Wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I only just took the bar off. I've left all the mounting brackets. I was somehow considering trying to get all these brackets out, but I've just lost a washer in here, but I found it again. Yeah, so as you can see now, this is the mounting plate for the winch, which is so much easier to get to. This is the bit of body that's in the way, this bit here. So going to have to work out how much of this to cut off, and I'm going to feel I've got to basically cut it just below that lip. Yeah, alright, I'll probably just do a few measurements and have a bit of a scratch around, but at the moment I'm just going to have to try and work out how much of that body lip to cut off. And as I said before, that's the bar there hanging on the crane. Come in handy, that little crane. I've had it for years, but lifts motors and all sorts of things out. But yeah, it's come in handy for this. Alright, we'll just make some measurements on here and work out how I'm going to cut this body. I've pulled this piece of bodywork off, this bit here, and I've taken the bracket off that supported it, and now I'm just looking at the tray. There's the tray where the winch goes. So what I'm thinking of doing is fitting the winch to this tray here, and then try and put the body back on. And I know the body won't fit, so then we're going to have to work out where to cut it and where to mark it. And alright, so that's going to be the next thing to do. Each of these winch bolts has a square nut, and there's a slot in there. If you can see that slot, the nut goes in there, then the bolt goes in from underneath. So I'll just put all those four in, and we'll just loosely do the bolts up on the winch. Well, that's the winch bolted in. That didn't take very long at all. My concern is that these terminals here for the winch cables from the solenoid box, whether I'm actually going to be able to get to them once this is all back on, I'm not sure. I'd hate to leave myself short, so what I might have to do is try and bring the Bullbar up once I'm ready to go, and then sort of do these as I go. But my next concern now is putting this body piece back on. So yeah, I'm going to have to sort of play around with that a little bit and see what I can do with trying to get this section cut out that goes around here, because I said before, this is way higher than the piece of body, so I'm going to have to try and mate it up. And a bit of an exercise in trying to get these bolts out. Up under here there was two bolts that held the front body clip up into here, and I had to take the inner guard down. So it's all a bit of a learning curve for me. I've never had one of these things apart before. So yeah, if you're struggling with trying to pull it off, just take it easy and you'll get there in the end. Alright, next thing to do is try and put that body back and mark it, and we'll cut what we have to. Now, this bracket here, this actually bolts back onto these support brackets, and these little tabs support the undersection of that body panel. Now, I had to cut one of those little brackets off here because it's in the way, and I'm hoping I'm going to be able to cut the body panel so I can still come to that bracket, cut it around the winch, come down here, cut it back in, and still be able to use that. So that's what I'm aiming for at the moment, to be able to pick up those two body brackets and just ignore that one. There's not much I can do because of all this in it. It clears it, doesn't really interfere with it. As you can see, it's a fairly tight fit, but the rope will never touch it. And yeah, I just got to put that piece back on and we'll mark it and start cutting. Now, if you can get the camera in here, this bolt hole has to line up with this. This bolt hole lines up on that bracket, and this bolt hole lines up here, but the winch is in the way. So what I'm going to do is, let me just bring this in here. So this section of the body here has got to be cut away. So I'm going to mark it, cut it, try it again. So it's going to take a couple of goes here, but I'd rather sneak up on it quietly than cut too much. Alright, that's the first measured cut. We're going to give it a try. I think I'm going to have to take it to the edge, but I said we'll just go and have a look at it, see how it looks. As you saw in the shed, I just cut that bottom piece out. Now, if you look under here, it's fouling there on that edge of the winch, and it's missing just there, but what it is doing is it just doesn't line up with these bolts. They just don't quite line up properly. So for the sake of a little cut down there, I'd rather just take a bit more out. It's only in one spot. It doesn't seem to be... just let me get that in there. Right. Yeah. We just need to relieve that edge. So I'll just take that bottom bit off here. I might as well clear it all to here because I'm going to have cables on these terminals, so I do need to clear them and they'll be in the way otherwise, so I'll just relieve that whole bottom piece to there. Alright, let's go back to the shed and cut some more. Oh, as you saw back there, it just didn't quite fit, so I'm going to take it off to there. It should then be enough. And it doesn't come all the way to the corner, so I'll just round that as best I can. Yeah, and if you can hear that rain on the roof, it's just started raining again, so... Alright, let's cut this out. Oh, apologies for the noise, by the way, it's just started to rain again. Alright, these body panel holes line up with the brackets to bolt them on. Really pleased about. Underneath, if you have a look here, we're just shading the winch, which is fine. I'm happy with that. The underbolts under there I can get to. But I've just noticed, and I'm glad I noticed it now, is down in there, where my pointer is, there's the handle for the clutch on the winch. So I'm not going to be able to reach that in its present location without making some sort of cut. So I'm going to have to cut something in here to get my hand in. Now, I need that cut to line up with, there's a hole here in the Bullbar. I've got it round the back to front here. Let me come around here in the rain. So you've got this hole here where you can put your hand in. So I need to make sure I line that up with the hole in the body here, this body panel, to line up with the winch. Well, the handle of the winch to engage and disengage the clutch is about there. So I'm going to have to trial fit this backwards and just see where that lines up. So I'm going to get out of this rain. It's starting to come in on me. Alright, I've just done a trial alignment to work out where this clutch lever is, and I've missed it completely. It's down in here. But the clutch handle is going to be right up here where this grill is. So I think I'm going to have to rotate that end 90 degrees anti-clockwise as you look at it to get the handle. Then I can access the handle down in here, but I'm going to have to rotate. So pull it all out, pull the winch back out again, and rotate that end 90 degrees anti-clockwise, which will put the lever where I need it. So, alright, one more thing. This is where the clutch engage, disengage mechanism is on the winch. And this whole thing, oops, I'm just rocking the winch behind me. So this whole assembly has to rotate. And I'm hoping I can loosen these bolts off and actually rotate this whole thing around. Alright, that's what I'll do now. Okay, so now we've got the winch back out of the car, and we need to rotate this gearbox assembly 90 degrees anti-clockwise. And what we need to do is, there's two bolts here and one in the bottom, so we need to take them, undo them, take this gearbox off and rotate the plate inside. So we need a couple of Allen keys for that, and we need a 6mm Allen key. There's a 6mm Allen key. Now let's take this one. There's the drive shaft. That's this hexagonal shaft we need to be mindful of. Just move this out the way. So there's the end. There's a seal there, and there's a row of small diameter Allen head bolts around there. So you take that series of bolts out, remembering which way we want it to. We want to rotate this 90 degrees clockwise. So if I put it on its end, okay, that's the bolts out. Now remember, this should come off. That comes off there, exposes the gearbox. So remembering that, oh, there's a gasket there. Just be careful. There's a gasket there, so we need to make sure we don't damage that. So the foot of the base of the winch goes there. Instead of this being here, we want it around 90 degrees facing forward. So if I stand that back up again, pointing that forward and lay this back down, making sure I don't pinch that gasket, like that. Now that's not quite how I wanted it. I really wanted it like that. So it's sort of half a hole. It's not really lining up very well. I'm going to have to put it there. And if I put it there, that means that when that's on there, it's slightly high. I really wanted it, I probably needed it, that'll be a little bit lower. So yeah, it's not really 90 degrees, is it? Anyway, that's going to be interesting, because if I put it too high, if I put it like, if I put it too high, if I put it like that, when I put my hand in, yeah, that's free. Okay. Alright, well, we're going to button this up as it is, and we'll have to make sure that. Alright, I'll put these bolts back in and we'll go and trial fit it, and I just hope we don't have to pull it out again. Okay, so they're all done up tight. Now it's just a matter of putting it back the way it came apart. This drive shaft being a hexagonal shaft, we'll obviously have to line up with the drive in there, and we may need to just jiggle it around a little bit. Yeah, just like that. Okay, throw these back in. Right, so there you go. Now as it goes in the car, you'll be able to put your hand through there and rotate that. So I'll just go and trial it back on the vehicle and just make sure that I can get my hand through the bull bar and reach that, but fingers crossed it's all good to go. Now I've lined the bull bar up roughly, and as you can see now, you can see in there, this is where the knob is for the clutch. I can get my hand through here and I can operate that quite easily. So happy with that position it's in. It's in free spool at the moment. Probably what it needs is a bit of a white paint on that little pointy bit so you can easily see it, but that's something for later. Alright, so now we can just pull all this back out again. You can see it's winch fits in there. It's quite neat and tidy really. Alright, I'll put that body panel back in and we'll go through the process of putting it all back together again. There we go. So I'm pretty happy now the winch is bolted in. I've still got to take this cable tie off and run the cable through the bull bar. I've had to order a fairhead because it didn't come in the packet, and that was probably a mistake I made when I bought it. I didn't check. That's okay, it's on order, it'll be here a few days. This body panel's back on. As you can see underneath here, there's the cutout. It's quite neat. I've rotated the clutch knob, not quite 90, but it's okay there. Seems to be okay. So I'll put this panel back on. All I've got to do now is slide the bull bar back in. It picks up on these 3 bolt holes here and 3 on the other side, and I'll do that now, and then it'll be the tidying up the wiring, putting the grill back in. So I'll get on with that. Now that the winch is in, the bull bar's back on, the next job I need to do is to mount this solenoid box, and then we've got to run these cables. These cables are all color coded by their boot color. There's a red, a yellow and a black, and on the terminals on the motor end of the winch there's also corresponding red, yellow and black terminals, and they just got to be wired for that. And I'll run the cables through the grill. There's also a main power lead, and this power lead will go up through the grill to the battery positive, and there's a cable here which is the negative, and there's the Maggie's in the background having a good old chortle. This power negative lead runs from the black terminal on the motor, and it also picks up this thin black wire that's on the solenoid box. The next thing what I got to do is mount this box, and I'm just humming and hawing where to put it. I've seen a lot of them where they just mount them in the middle between the spotties. Yes, I guess that's probably where it would go. The hand-held wired remote goes in this plug on the side, so you've got to be able to get that cover off, and also get the plug on the end here. So you sort of don't want it over interfering with that spotty. So I'm thinking I might even move it over a little bit. The problem with that is it's not going to be central, and if it's not in line it's going to bug me. So I think I'm just going to have to move it to the middle, mount it in the middle like that, and just realise I've got to get in here. So the next job really is to mark this, drill this, and we'll bolt this in place, and then I can run all these cables. So that's the next thing to do. The control box is in. It's mounted here. cables run through the grill, comes up through the grill. The positive lead is on here, the negative comes around here. In line in the positive, you've got a screw switch that you wind in and out to either turn it on or off. So moment of truth time. We'll wind that in. That's in the on position, so that's now closed. We've got to just plug the remote into here. There's the remote, and I'll do this one hand. It's always not easy. There's a little indent in there which lines up with the indent there, so that's on. There's a little arrow, by the way. That arrow lines up on where this clip is, I think. So alright, at the moment it's in free spool, so I'll put my hand in here and turn it to clutch. Now, can't do two things at once. I'll put the camera down. I've just got it free spooled at the moment, so I'll just pull a little bit out. I'm just going to hold it, turn it to clutch. Alright. Not sure if you can see that. Oh yeah, the in button, and that's the out button. So we might just put a bit of weight on it and hit the out button. Ooh, look at that. Alright, now as I said before, I didn't get a fair lead with this, so I'm just going to cable tie this to here until I get it, and then I can't do the tension on it until we've got the fair lead in place. So that's about all I can do for now. Well, the fair lead's arrived in the mail. Only took a couple of days, but just pull this out and I'll show you what it looks like. This is what it is. Shiny plate that fits on there, so the cable can come through. Yeah, and it comes with an Allen head bolt and a nut and a spring washer, so I'll bolt this on. It's like to say that I think the winch company should really include this in their kits. It's a bit like buying a tent and then when you realise you want to put it up, there's no pegs. I think it sort of should be part of it, but anyway. Okay, let's get this bolted on. Let's get the under tray plates bolted in. So once we get this bolted on, we'll then do the tensioning of the cable on the drum of the winch. And that means we'll use that stump up there in the paddock. I'll show you shortly. Okay, so as you can see now, we've got a tree protector strap around this stump. We've got the winch cable extended all the way down to the winch. I've got it pulled out. We've got all the cable, the engine's running because the winch is going to run. So we're going to inch the car forward on the winch, and I'm just going to run this across to make sure that it goes on straight. Alright, moment of truth, and we're going to run this, just take it in slow. Okay, so take it up, keep going, keep going. Alright, we just got a couple of feet left, and I'll just jog that up myself, just to bring this, get it in the last little bit. Might just come out a bit, just a bit tight there. Okay. So that's it. I'm just not sure where to put the hook. I'll work out where to put the hook, and we're all done. Well, that's the winch done. It's all installed. I'm really happy with the way it went together. A little bit of mucking around with that body panel, but that was to be expected. I wasn't sure that it would be a straightforward fit. Happy that it's all gone in now. If you like the video, a thumbs up would be appreciated. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, it'd be great to have you along. The subscribe button's here somewhere. If you like the video and you'd like to support the channel in the future, in the description below there's a link to buy me a coffee. I'd appreciate that. If you haven't seen the video of the conversion from the well body to the canopy, I'll link that that video will be here. So if you'd like to click on that and have a look. And yeah, we look forward to bringing you some more videos shortly. We're heading off very soon on a trip up the coast to go fishing and camping, so we'll bring you that one shortly. Yeah, and thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.